Yes, thank you for coming. This is our easily set up, and we'll talk about the right work. Introduction to interactive fiction tools. We'll be demonstrating two different tools. First, Twine, which is a mechanism for generating choose your own adventure games on the web. It's come into a little bit of prominence recently with games like Professional Quest. Again, you've heard of it like Steam Mustafa. It's very easy to use, and I have used it for about 5 minutes, which is why Caleb will be presenting it. Once that's, we'll do like 20 minutes of that, and then we'll do 20 minutes of 3.7, which is a tool for creating parser-based interactive fiction of the form like Zork.
Yeah, sorry.
And up until 30 seconds ago, we thought we were using my laptop for the thing. So,
What are you doing?
in regards to warming up the crowd, who here has played any form of interactive fiction?
Playing what?
Any form of interactive fiction.
I did the Choose Your Own Adventure books back when I was a kid. I think that's the closest.
We'll count that. Interactive fiction at this point has turned into meaning a lot of different things. When I was a kid growing up, there were Choose Your Own Adventure books, but this was distinct from interactive fiction, which was basically a marketing term used by Infocom. A company that was based in Cambridge that came out of MIT graduates. It was one of the first, well, not exactly the first company to produce commercial, literary, interactive text-based games. They were the high mark of interactive fiction through the early 80s, and then computers came out that had actual graphics, and people decided that was going to be pretty popular. So there was there were a number of IF companies in the early 80s, and then a few stalwarts holding on in the late 80s, and then by 1990 they pretty much all gone kaput. Company technically gives input, but it still exists as a brand name by Activision, but Activision doesn't. So this was, of course, immediately followed by early 90s. There was the rise of graphical adventures to NIST, which are interestingly related to text adventures, although I will not give at this point. And all this time, people were continuing to work on text-IF.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm still working on getting this set up, but I can kind of pick up a little bit, which is that Zark has talked about the classic parser-based text-IF and how that was the main form of interactive fiction back in the day. Over time, the Choose Your Own Adventure style has gotten a little bit more popular, and the advent of the tool that I'm about to show you and that we are about to build a game with called Twine is really set a new standard for accessibility in terms of building a Choose Your Own Adventure type game. The reason for that is that it's so simple and it's free, and the finished products can be played on literally any computer capable of web browsing. With that, effectively, you don't need to know how to program at all. Twine can be very powerful. It uses JavaScript as how it builds its passages, so you can insert direct JavaScript into a Twine game if you so choose. There are also people who have built custom macros for it using JavaScript you can then just plug in. You don't even need to know how to program to use them necessarily. You just have to learn Twine's systems, which are actually very, very simple. All right, I think that I'm actually set up here. Let's see if my computer handles going to VGA with any kind of grace. Come on, computer. Say sorry about this. I made the mistake of plugging in the VGA cable before my computer woke up and it decided that that was a terrible idea.
And to be clear, Twine does work on Macs, it's just that it got confused about the multiple screens thing.
Yeah, it bears mentioning that Chris Dimas, the author of the Twine platform, is currently dedicated to improving the platform with community support. So Twine 2.0 is on the way, and apparently that's going to be like a web-based platform, so you should be able to do it without even having a program. Right now you do have to download a program, but it's compatible with most systems. I'll go over that. Okay, so let's get this party started. When you open a Twine game, you see this interface with little boxes and sort of a blank canvas. This is the passage map, the node map for your game. And once we start using it, you'll see how simple this makes everything. I've had people remark that they've tried to like storyboard their Twine games only to realize that storyboarding in the game, the program itself, is easier. So first things first, here's the story author passage, which is what displays who made the game, and that's us. That's the Festival of Indie Games. That'll now display on the side. We'll worry about our story's title later. So let's come up with a setting. What's a good setting for a sort of choose your own adventure style game?
MIT.
MIT. All right, that's fine. Where do we want to start out in MIT?
Or the subbases.
Okay. Not having gone here, this will be an interesting challenge for me. You are in a sub-basement of MIT. You don't know which. Okay, so now we've got our opening passage. If we were to test the game from here, it would just display that text and that would be it. Nothing to do. So let's make some links. What are some things that you could do from being in a sub-basement?
Cry.
Connect to the Wi-Fi.
Cry, connect to Wi-Fi. Okay, these are our two options. This seems consistent. So you'll notice that I typed these words with double brackets around them. That's how you create a passage link. A passage link leads from one passage to another. You'll notice that they're red. That's because Twine automatically detects these don't lead anywhere. So let's open the passage menu. You can see that there is a menu item for broken links, and it'll show us the two links that we just created. Let's handle cry first, because that probably isn't going to get us anywhere. You have a good cry and feel much better. Narcissus. But now we want to connect to the Wi-Fi now that we've gotten that out of our systems. So I typed the connect to Wi-Fi thing again. Now these are both the same passage link. They will lead to the same place. Let's create the connect to Wi-Fi passage. You connect to Wi-Fi with a laptop you have for some reason. Now, before we go on, let's take a look at the node map. You'll see that some stuff has been created since we last looked at it. The start passage is always the passage from which the game starts. It bears mentioning you can't go back to the start passage, so if you want to have the player be able to loop around, don't make this like a room. It's where your game starts and from where your game departs. And once that's happened, you've got to move on. But as you can see, there are now arrows connecting the two new passage nodes. And you can see which ones connect where. You can make any shape that you want with Twine. If you actually have a map in your game where your player is able to move around freely, it helps to like make a little map out of your nodes. But some people, like whatever works best for you, we're just going to have these kind of branch out in a direction. It bears mentioning if you get a little lost, you can zoom out, you can zoom in. The main difference between zoom in and zoom out is how much of a passage it like previews. Okay, so now that we're connected to the Wi-Fi, what should we have our character do?
Check Facebook.
Okay, that's an option. Check Facebook. Anything else?
Look up funny cat videos.
Look up funny cat videos. I think that this is going to be a digital adventure.
Search MIT maps.
Search MIT Maps, a solution to our problem.
I don't know, funny cat video sounds like a solution to me.
Sure. So, like, let's see. Search MIT Maps. And look up funny cat videos. Oh wait, I was going to do that one last. And check Facebook. As you can see, this can get a little bit cluttered. You know, there are ways to manage this, but in general, like, you know, remember that you can always double-click any passage note on the map to open up its window. So let's see. You check Facebook. Your racist uncle is at it again.
You post that you're lost in substation of MIT.
Okay, so here's an important thing that we're going to do. Post that you're lost in a sub-basement of MIT. That's a kind of clunky passage name, isn't it? So here's something that Twine can do. If you put a vertical bar in your passage link, you can have any text that you want be a link to a different passage. So let's call this, the next passage, call for help. So you can see that the text here is black, that's what will be displayed, and then call for help is the passage to which this link will go. And let's put one in here called Nevermind. That will take us back to connect to Wi-Fi. Now you'll see that that one's blue. That's because that link already exists. This will have just drawn an arrow from the check Facebook passage back to the connect to Wi-Fi passage. Okay, so calling for help. You post a message detailing your predicament.
Poor people like it. No other response.
No. Oh well. I don't know, I was thinking Dostoevsky. Okay, so, and the oh well link will take you back to connect to Wi-Fi. Now it bears mentioning that, you know, you can do this over and over again. It will always display the same thing. There are ways that you can get around that, but they're a little bit complicated for me to go into right now. But let's go into something a little bit more complicated. This is still red because it hasn't updated. So let's go to the funny cat videos thing. Let's say that in order to navigate the MIT website, in order to avoid getting frustrated, you need to be calm enough. Right now you're a little too panicked. So let's say that looking up funny cat videos is the step that you need to take in order to have the peace of mind to browse the MIT Maps website. This is where variables come in, and we're going to set one up right now. You spend a few minutes watching Maru jump into boxes. What a cute guy. Okay, so now we are going to use the set variable. Set will either create a new variable, or it will update an existing one. So let's call it call.
So people need to have cookies enabled in order to play through.
Yeah, in JavaScript. You do in fact need to have those enabled. So, like, in this case, what we said is set column to 1. All variables are preceded by a $sign. They can then have, alphanumerics after it, avoid special characters like periods, dashes, etc. So what we've just done is we've created the column variable and set it to 1. You can also use an equal sign, instead of the 2. But we're going to leave it like that. This doesn't take up any space. The user doesn't see this at all. This is totally invisible, which is why I'm going to use the same line to, now, what was I doing? And we're going back to the connect to Wi-Fi passage. And so let's actually set up the gating process here. So if you search MIT Maps, you're only successful if your column stat is 1, so, or greater than 0 in this case. So let's set up that gates. If column is 1, you can also use EQ, which is the way that it tests, but I prefer is. If column is 1, then you find yourself calm enough to browse the website and obtain a map of the sub-basements. Now, we'll flesh that out in a moment, but first, let's do an else.
Everything is confusing and bad.
Right. You try to navigate the MIT website for a few minutes, but get really frustrated. You need to calm down. So now, including the player. And in this case, it's very important that we allow the player to go back, or else they'll be stuck on this passage. So, go back, and once again, connect to Wi-Fi. It's always important to close all of your if statements with an end if tag, because if you don't, your game will break. So before we go on, let's take a look at our node map.
You need an exit out of that.
What was that?
You need an exit out of that.
Yeah, I'll build that in a minute.
Oh.
Right now, we're gonna have that temporarily be our win condition.
Okay.
So as you can see, it has detailed all of the passages that we can go to from different places. Now, under the build menu, there is an option for test play. There's also an option to test play from any passage. You can highlight a passage or right-click it and then test play from that. Very handy, can kind of mess you up if you're using variables though, because it'll come in with no variable set. Everything will have a null value. That can break things. However, it can still be very handy for testing like a single conversation tree or like a set of decisions, something like that. So let's test play what we've got so far. Of course, if I were smart, I would have opened Chrome before this, but I wasn't. Okay, here we go. All right. So here's our name right here. We're the Festival of Indie Games. Here's our untitled story so far, which we'll go back and. So this is the default presentation. There are 3 different templates. One of which is like, a light text on black. That's this one.
Can you get a larger font?
A larger font. Let me just.
Thank you.
There we go. There's actually one that's specially designed to work well on mobile. So anyway, let's, so as you can see, all this stuff is fairly smooth. Let's try searching MIT Maps. Oh, we're too frustrated. Let's look up funny cat videos instead. Now our variable should have changed. There we go. And we have our first working build. All right, so now that we've done that, let's go So now that we have a map of the sub-basement, what's going to happen?
Hubris.
Hubris.
You don't need it.
Okay, all right. Throw away the laptop and continue. But that's too long. Let's call this hopelessly lost. All right. So now that we are hopelessly lost, let's introduce something that not everybody uses in their Twine games. Let's introduce an inventory. One of the things that's often leveled as a criticism against choose your own adventure style games is that they are they're not they don't have persistent data, persistent worlds. We have to keep this to a small scope because we've only got 5 minutes left. But I want to show one of my favorite features of Twine, which is the ability to nest a passage in another passage. So let's see, what's a thing you can find on the ground that might be useful?
A rat.
Burrito.
A burrito.
A rat burrito.
Okay, a rat burrito.
I'm contributing.
Okay, so now let's do this. Let's see, if rat burrito is false, there is a rat burrito on the ground here. I'm just going to end if for this because if we've already taken the rat burrito, we want it to just not be there. So we're going to have two arbitrary directions. So let's see. First things first, let's make it so that you can take the rat burrito. Rat burrito. Score. Set. Rat burrito. True.
So is the false?
It does. All variables that don't exist yet, they count as false. Null is false in this case. At least if I recall correctly. But you know what? Let's double check. One of the strengths of this game, of this system, is its ability to very quickly check a build without having to do much of anything. So, sure enough, yeah. Variables start out null, which is the same in this system as false. So anyway, here's our rat burrito. Let's scroll down a little bit. Hopelessly lost to rat burrito. We might want to make it so that after taking the rat burrito, you don't become so enthralled with it that you're literally unable to do anything else. You pick it up. Okay, so you can go back. You then go back to being hopelessly lost, and just to test this real quick, there's a rat burrito on the ground here. You take the rat burrito, you pick it up, and now the rat burrito text is gone because you have taken it. Now here's the part that I think is really fun. Let's make a quick inventory passage. We're going to call it inventory. If rat burrito is true, you have a rat burrito. Also, let's get character chart in there. White space used to be a nightmare in Twine. Luckily, they fixed it. Okay, so now that we have an inventory, let's implement it. That's it. In order to call another passage, all you have to do is enter that passage as though it's its own macro. and it will just display the passage in its entirety. It will also, go through any scripting in that passage. It's really great, and you can do so much for it with it. So just, be creative. We're going to keep it simple this time. So let's see. Let's make it go this way. Go this way. You go this way. Then we'll have go back, which will be to hopelessly lost. Go that way, and go forward. So we're going to put one last puzzle in this game. Which is we're going to have a gatekeeper who wants a wrapper. Who might want a wrapper?
Janitor.
A janitor. Of course, right?
Far
Finish this. You go that way. Go back. Now you'll note that the way that I'm doing this, you can absolutely have a dungeon, a map that you can actually travel through, which again is one of the things that COIOA style games often get called out for not really doing. But building like a world model is really not that hard, especially if you use variables and nested passages to represent progress beyond just where you are. Oops. Okay, so let's make the go forward link. Okay, so let's say if janitor is true. Now, the fact that the janitor needs to be here, I did janitor as true for a reason. Let's make it so that the moment that you enter here, let's see, sorry, losing my words here. If visited, now this is a function. You can call certain JavaScript functions. There's a good list of them on the Twine wiki. This one is, how many times have we been to this passage? What we're going to do is that the first time you enter this passage, which should be when you first enter it from having thrown away the laptop, it's going to tick up to 1. So if visited is less than 2, we're going to set janitor to true. And again, this is all invisible, your user can't see it. But what this means is that the first time that somebody visits this passage, it will set the janitor to exist. And that way, if they come back to this passage later, after having placated the janitor won't suddenly reappear. Okay, so let's go back to,
Should that have been greater than 1?
Hmm?
Should it have been greater than 1?
Oh no, I did less than 2 because I only want the janitor to be set to true the first time you arrive. And it puts the janitor there and then it doesn't put him there again. Okay, so let's do our final room, which is go forward in this case. If janitor is true, there is a janitor here, barring the way out. I'm so hungry. Rats. That sounds rough. Oh, actually, I'm going to give us the option to go this way or go that way, rather than, offering empty consolation. Did I say yes? Go this way and go that way. So I want these options to be here no matter whether the janitor is around or not. So I'm going to put the end if here. We're going to build two little conditional statements here. If you have the rat burrito, you can for true false variables, you can abbreviate it to just if variable. If rat burrito, give him the burrito. And I'm going to add a carriage return there because otherwise it'll stack everything right next to each other, and that's inadvisable. So let's put an end if there, and then if oh no wait, that's all I wanted to enter there. So, and then we're going to put this else. Now this else refers to if janitor is true because we already ended this. One thing that I find very helpful is to highlight my text between an if and an end if. That way you can tell what the extent of it is. When you start nesting these, they can get very confusing. So anyway, give him the burrito, and then else leave. Because there won't be, oh, I should put in, there is no janitor. So, last two passages, give him the burrito. Yay, thanks. The janitor skips away. Go back. Go forward, because that's the name of the passage. But first, we want to set janitor to false. And we want to set rat burrito. Oh, you know what? It occurs to me that I forgot to put the inventory in the other rooms. But that's okay, I'll just put it in this one so we'll be able to see it. There.
To get out of the inventory, you just hit the back button on the browser.
What was that?
How do you leave the inventory to go back to where you were?
The way that I'm doing it is that I'm inserting the inventory passage into each passage itself. So it'll just automatically display right there if you have the rat burrito. So you don't have to go back. By the way, it bears mentioning, yes, you can use the back button, but you can also disable letting players use the back button, which is handy. Okay, so now that we have a thing for there not being a janitor, let's put in the leave passage. You finally escape the sub-basement. Hooray! All right, so let's see if what we built works. Okay, you're in sub-basement of MIT. Let's cut right to the chase. Connect to Wi-Fi. Look at those funny cat videos. What's he doing? Search MIT Maps. Throw away that laptop. Who needs it? Let's take a rat burrito. All right. See, now you can see we have a rat burrito because we inserted the inventory clause into this passage. But I forgot to do it for go this way and go that way, so that it doesn't appear there. But let's go forward. Well, the janitor is hungry for rats. Luckily, we have a rat burrito. Let's give him the rat burrito. He skips away. Now there's no janitor here, and we can leave. Well done. We just broke the twine game.
What's it called? What's the title?
Oh God, what is the title?
Basement of Rats.
Like, how about burrito basement? And then of rats. All right, thank you so much. I'll turn things over to Andrew, having eaten up more of his time than I was allotted.
So, over on the other side of the invisible cultural fence, we have the parser-based game. This is
Oh, there it is.
one option would have it set up early and advance. Okay. So this is a tool for creating parser-based games. This is the older style, which was, yes, about 10 minutes left. These games are built around the idea of a world model. When Kaylin was saying that choice-based games are sometimes thinking about having this is because the older style games kind of had objects and rooms built in. So we will only have time for a subset of the previous game, but so the other thing is that this is a traditional programming language. I'm typing source code. The source code is compiled and result is the game. You don't have this nice map of states that are laid out. On the other hand, it's a non-traditional programming language in that the line up there, the basement is a room, is a sentence. And it's a relatively intuitive sentence. This is not a perfect natural language system. There are lots of ways to phrase that wouldn't work, but this way does work. And so I demonstrate it by hitting play, file. This just goes downhill. So this is a running game, and it has a set of basic built-in actions that if you were a fan of parser-based interactive fiction, you would recognize. You can look around, there's no description, you can look around. You can jump, you can, there's no singing in this game, but there could be. You can examine things, there's only one thing around. The point is that all this is sort of built in. The stock set of things that you can do in nearly all of these games. Now, since the basement should have a little bit more of a description, we will add one. This is a property of the room. And again, we're describing this in relatively smooth English. We could even say something like, the description of the basement is text. So now we have a room with a description, and if you look around, it will be. Now, I'm not going to do with a rat burrito. Let us have something down here which is not a rat burrito. And also not involving rats or burritos separately or
A magical talking coyote.
magical talking coyote. Right. Talking may be far more work than getting, but we can. Now, by defining it as an animal, we There's the error message is actually kind of meaningful. Programming languages always have terrible error messages, but in fact, it's telling you that it can't find a verb in that sentence because I left out the word is. Pretty smart about this. Okay. So now we have a coyote. Being a coyote and an animal, it has a few things built in. For example, if we type get coyote, we could overwrite them. There's also, if there was another object in the room, such as, for example, a bone, thank you. You pick up the bone, you take inventory, you try giving the bone to the coyote. And what's interesting to say about all this? I have no idea. The system does have a notion of a map. If I were to look over to the index, a large list of things that are automatically generated, one of which, when you compile the game, one of which is the map. Now the map is a single room, so that's not a very graphical map. And it's got this indication of where you are. If I was to put in a second room, so this is north, the basement, although we need much farther to remember. It doesn't by default describe the exit. We could add that to the root description. We now support the notion of and it has a full suite of understanding of objects and locations. We can pick up the bone, the north, drop the bone, and the bone is in the basement. So we are running down to the last few minutes, so I will very quickly put in some activity for clarity. That's a little function, and hopefully you can understand what it does. Let me try these to be around here. If I pick up the bone, and I go north, the coyote turns up. The coyote did not turn up immediately because of the order of operations. I would like to add a message saying, coyote turns up. He goes around, here he is. I hit the coyote, it tells you. Obviously, we can continue with this and be able to feed the bone to the coyote and have the coyote turn into a shaman, but then we toot around in just a ritual for reasons of IT. We've all had that happen. If you've been confused by these commands that I've been typing, come by our table in the exhibition hall. We have many of these games to demonstrate. One thing I want to add, and I realize this is extremely fragmented of me. Last year, I experimentally tried to create a multiplayer twine-based mud system, which exists. Yes, 2 minutes. This has not been widely used, but it was an interesting project, and it basically has something very much like the twine system, where you're creating passages and links and so forth and running around, except with a multiplayer system, so other players are also running around through the same set of rooms and you can chat with them. I found this entertaining. I also made it based on the Myst game universe because I thought that needed more stuff. Feel free to ask. Yes.
How can we get this, the multiplayer twine?
You can grab one of my postcards, which I have done on right here. It's called Seltani, S-E-L-T-A-N-I. I have some of those postcards available also. Any other questions in the last 30 seconds?
If you have time to demonstrate it, I'm curious how you would write in a contingency for what the parser would do, what to do if the player hits the coyote, like how to have it actually do something when that happens. How to react to a player action.
Excellent question. Yes, I was There's obviously a rich system of action and interaction, and that can be modeled for all sorts of crazy things. I'm in the late stages of building a gigantic alchemy game with like 500 objects and making stuff and chanting rituals and doing some other things and walking into fires and incinerating. And my time is up. Thank you all for coming.